David Watts on Mix 93.8.
It is What's Involved, as we do each and every Monday at this time. Welcome to the show. My special guest tonight, somebody I've wanted to talk to for a while now, Lourens Oberholzer. He's the CEO of Retire Rich and Happy. How's
Hi,
it,
Dave? How are you?
Good. And I say I wanted to talk to you for a while now because I first heard you on Saskia's show. During the week, you come in and you were talking about Retire Rich and Happy. Now, the first time I heard this, I was like, oh yeah, rich dad, poor dad thing,
Yes.
yeah, whatever. And then I listened again, and then I was like, hang on, this is interesting. This is
something different.
This is different. It makes sense. And then I found myself going, but you know, you're only on for like 10 minutes. I don't get to learn enough in 10 minutes.
Yes.
I need to find out more about this Lourens Oberholzer person.
Yes.
So I thought the best way, get you here.
Let's get here.
Here you are.
Well, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Tell me a little bit about Lourens Oberholzer. I mean, how did you go from, to somebody that's now running a company called Retire Rich and Happy? Where did you start off?
Okay, so I actually grew up on a mine on the other side of Witbank, small little place. So almost like on the farm. I mean, the closest town we had to us was Kriel. I don't even know if you know where that is.
I do
that's
indeed.
like 15 kilometers from us. So if we wanted to go to Kriel, it was a whole day's planning to get to Kriel. But grew up on a small mine. My dad was on the mines his whole life, worked on the mine for 40 years. And he did everything right, like what they teach us. Get a good job, get on the pension fund, don't make unnecessary debt, don't withdraw your money, save as much as you can. And in 1993, he retired. And with everything, he bought a house cash, everything was fine. And within 5 years after retirement, his income wasn't enough to sustain his standard of living anymore. And I looked at that and I said, but if he did everything correct and it still didn't work, then there's probably a problem with the system, not so much with the people. So that's why I grew up. I started in the financial services industry in 1999 as a typical financial advisor. The guy that comes out, he sits with you, he sells you a policy. But I realized there was two major problems. The first problem was the fact that most of the process when we look at financial planning as people know it is a selling process. It's people coming to you, sitting with you and trying to sell you more. Without it really focusing on educating you and secondly having a strategy to take you forward. It's basically sitting with you, selling you the policy, and then they come and see you when they can sell you something else instead of working with you. And I'm a natural educator. That's been my strength since I was very young. I can explain things that are relatively abstract in such a way that people understand it. So when I got into the industry, I started doing it more from an educational perspective, and then people started to buy into what I'm telling them, and I was doing better than everybody around me. So I understood that the industry doesn't need more innovative products. It needs more innovative education and advice. That's what people need, not this product beating that product.
But what you say now is so valid because in terms of my life as well, I mean, I had lots of policies sold to me.
Yes.
Been through all sorts of ups and downs, lost said policies.
Yes.
Thought, okay, if I pay up certain policies, they'll keep on growing, etc. And none of that has really happened. And I thought to myself the one day, I was thinking, okay, well, from going from somebody who did everything right to somebody who's now apparently done everything wrong. And talking to my mates who'd also bought these policies when they were 18 or whatever the case may be.
Yes.
I was actually in a better position than them, having a business.
Doing everything wrong according to the rules.
And these, you pay, and it's exactly that. And I actually developed, and a very good friend of mine is a broker now and does sort of very much similar stuff to you, educational wise as well. But I got very negative about brokers and about the insurance sort of world in general, because I mean, you see me like once a year, if that.
Yes.
And there you go, sign up. You don't tell me what my policy is doing. Is it worth this? Is it not? And you end up, when you're 18, somebody says, you're going to get R1 million when you're 55.
Yes.
You're like,
and it's not explained what that million is worth.
$1 million. And then when it gets to the sort of stage where it's the policy matures, you're like, but hold on.
Yes.
That's not today's money. That's not even close.
It doesn't even mean anything. So, and that's the thing. That was the second problem I realized. And I got into the industry very young. I was 24. And before I got into the industry, I worked with a company called Housewares. And at a very young age, I earned a hell of a lot of money. I was very successful. I thought I was everything. I was this great guy. And then I lost everything. The company just literally over a weekend closed down. The Friday, they said Monday, we were out of the offices.
Wow.
So I bought this house when I was 21. And the guy from the bank came. And the broker from the bank. And I've got all this money. I don't know what to do with it. I'm a young guy. And he sold me an endowment policy with life cover. So when the pawpaw hit the fan and everything went haywire, he was nowhere to be found because I had to pay my policy. I couldn't. Then he didn't want to talk to me anymore. And I lost everything. And that made me passionate about educating people, because if I can learn how it works, then I can teach others. So the retirement crisis, when I walked into the industry, I found out about the retirement crisis. 96% of people retiring in South Africa cannot maintain their standard of living within 5 years after retiring. And this was in 1999, and it hasn't changed. It actually has become worse over time.
It has indeed. I mean, we spoke briefly off air. I mean, my dad passed away. He'd also done everything right. The house was paid. We did the whole lot right.
Yes.
Invested money for my mom. She was... the problem is that nobody planned for her to live that much longer than him. So he's now passed away 15 years ago. My mother is now battling, cannot, and keeps every month. Her sort of standard of living is getting less and less, having to worry about policies, worry about and it's sad because these are people that worked for 40 plus years.
Yes, and I call it the death spiral. One of the biggest reasons is people overestimate the value of capital. They think that if they get 3 million at retirement and they can invest that for 10%, that's going to give them 300,000 rands worth of interest, so they can take 25,000 rand a month and live off it.
Yeah.
The problem with that is next year you need 27.5. So now you have to take some of your capital to sustain that. So you have less capital, which means you have to take more capital. And then you get into that death spiral. And within 5 years, people have to cut down on their expenses. They have to sell their house, sell the car, because you can't save enough money to get to retirement. The maths just doesn't work. I've played the maths so many times. If you are 40 and you haven't started saving for retirement and you want to retire with 60% of your income you have now, you have to put away 55% of your gross income on a monthly basis to get there.
It's
never
impossible.
going to happen.
You cannot do that.
And that was the thing. I went to these conferences when I just got into the industry, and everybody was talking about this crisis, but then they were saying exactly the same thing. Save longer, save in an RA, save in an endowment, save in your pension fund. But if you don't have those amounts of money to save, you still have to live, then what? What's the solution? So in 2001, I started doing some research, and end of 2001, I went to the guys at the insurance company. I sat with them, 27 years old, more guts than knowledge. And explained to them that I think what they're doing isn't 100% correct. So needless to say, they didn't take me too seriously. They said, you know what, while you're with us, you're going to sell policies. And in April 2002, I resigned, and I borrowed 6,000 rand from my dad, and I started the company with 6,000 rand on the 15th of April 2002.
And haven't looked back.
17 years. It's been a challenge. Initially, the business was very straightforward because I realized that the whole thing about retirement is actually passive income. That is what retirement is.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to stop working and still earn an income. That's passive income. The problem is we've been taught that you get that passive income through building capital assets.
Yes.
So you save, put in the bank, live off the interest. But you can't. The maths just doesn't work. So what we then did is our initial philosophy was, let's help people understand their financial planning, and then let's help them build business assets to generate income. And for the first 5 or 6 years, we did that. And we had people earning 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 rand a month extra. But then I looked at it and I saw that, but we haven't brought any of these people any closer to retirement, because all that's happened is we've given them an extra 8,000 rand, they've increased their expenses, and now if they don't get that 8,000, they're in financial trouble.
Yeah.
And then I realized that it's not an income problem. It's a financial management education problem. And that's how the 5 steps that we now teach people started to evolve over time.
We'll talk a little bit about that when we come back. My special guest in studio tonight is Lourens Oberholzer, CEO of Retire Rich and Happy. Like I said, I was fascinated when I first heard him talking, so I want to find out a little bit more.
David Morris on Mix 93.8.
My special guest in studio, CEO of Retire Rich and Happy, it's Lourens Oberholzer. Okay, so we were talking about beforehand about policies and how it's becoming more difficult, incredibly difficult now to retire just with policies, etc., etc. We want to get into some of the other bits and pieces as to how to do it, but a question came through.
Yes.
And let me just remind you, if you'd like to get hold of us, 084 822 0938. That is the WhatsApp number, 084 822 0938. Otherwise, you can SMS us 41348. And we'll see what we can do to help you. Lourens also been good enough to say that just before the end of the show this evening, we will actually be giving away a couple of VIP tickets to your course and some consultations as well.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, we'll talk about that in a while. Question though. Hi guys, if you can't pay, why can't you freeze policies so that the money paid over several years isn't lost? It's a very broad question, mate.
Okay, I'm going to try and do it in, in a minute. Okay, so firstly, there's two types of policies, basic types of policies. The one is an investment policy, and the other one is a risk policy. So let's first look at the investment side. That's the easiest one. So if you've paid an investment policy over a couple of years and you do stop it, you will not lose the money that you've put in. It will go paid up, and which means there's going to be some penalties, but the capital that you've put in will still be there, and it will grow with whatever the underlying fund is. So in that sense, the money doesn't go away. You don't lose it.
But you also don't, I mean, that money that's put in there, I've got one of those. In fact, I've probably got several of those that are paid up. You don't lose it, but it certainly doesn't grow.
No, it's not going to reach the goals that were set initially. Yes.
And the problem is also, once it becomes paid up, then that money is there until the actual date that you set.
Yeah, if it's a retirement annuity, the earliest you can take that money is 55. If it's an endowment, you could access it. It all depends on if you've accessed it before, if it's within the 5 years. That's getting a little bit broad, so that's going to take us for 20 minutes.
We're on the 1 minute one.
On the Financial Freedom Forum that we're going to chat on, I have a whole section about investment and introduction to investments. The other side, and I think this is what the listener is referring to, is with risk policies. And here's the thing, a lot of people have a misconception about risk. They think that there's ways of putting money into a risk policy where you build up some cash value, and it's not like that. With a risk policy, I call it what if money. It's money you pay a third party for in case something happens to you.
So that in case you get hit by a bus kind of thing.
Yes. Okay. If that event doesn't happen, you do not get anything out. Doesn't matter what the marketing guys tell you. All they do is they increase the premiums and then give you some of that money back. It's your own money that they're just giving back to you. But I digress. So let's look at that risk. When you pay for risk, it's almost like a gambling agreement. You go to the insurance company and you say, listen, I'm gambling that I'm not going to die this month. To gamble that, I'm going to say I want 2 million life cover. So if I die this month, you're going to pay us 2 million. If I don't, I would have paid you 1,000 rand. At the end of the month, we see who won. So if you didn't die, the insurance company goes, thank you, I won. And if you did pass away, you will get the 2 million. Now, insurance companies very seldom lose. So it's important that you understand when you pay for it, it is for the cover for that month. And it doesn't build up a cash value. It doesn't come back to you unless one of those eventualities happen.
Or unless you eventually do kick it.
With life cover, it will eventually pay out. Yeah. That's the one insurance that will always pay out as long as you keep paying the premiums.
Okay, so it's one of those things, and I was explaining to you again off air, with my sort of entrepreneurial lifestyle that I've led, often we get the brokers to come and see you, and somebody says, they're brilliant, this one's brilliant, that one's brilliant, and then they come there and you get told all of these things that'll happen, and you need to invest your money, or what happens if you don't. I mean, now you're an entrepreneur. Ooh, it's dangerous, dangerous. You need to get X, Y, and Z. And you just end up paying until, as an entrepreneur, this sort of boat sometimes tips over. And you got to start from the beginning again.
Yeah. So, sorry, you wanted to finish.
Well, no, I think you were going to finish for me because, what do you do then? I mean, I've lost faith. Lost faith in that. Yeah. And there's another friend of mine who lives in Cape Town, also same sort of thing. Yeah. And he goes, hang on, but I've done the maths. If I spend this amount of money that I'm paying in all my different insurance and policies, put that in an account, and I'm then banking on me not dying.
Yeah.
So it's my own risk that I'm taking. And if it doesn't work out right now, it's going to be a problem. But if I do, then
that's
it's
again that gambling arrangement.
Yeah.
So you're basically then gambling on yourself. So what we've done is we've created a 5-step process, and I think I'm going to go into that a little bit because it's going to talk about risk as well. So we've created a 5-step process that we teach people, and the whole purpose of the 5 steps is to help people retire rich and happy. And the 5 steps is universal. You can do it anywhere. You don't have to do it in South Africa. It's not linked to South Africa. You can do it anywhere. So the first step we do is we say minimize your risk. You need to make sure that doesn't matter what happens to you, your life or your dependents' lives can continue in the same manner as you were used to. Not better, just the same. Now, what's the difference when we look at minimizing your risk? It's the way we approach risk. The industry typically approaches risk from what have you got. So the guy comes, he sits with you, he pulls all your policies, he puts it on a little spreadsheet, and he goes, you've got 3 million cover from this company. We're going to give you 3.2 million for the same premium, and we're going to give you this cash back and this bonus or whatever the case may be. The question is, do you need 3 million life cover? Is it too much? Is it too little? What does it actually do? Our approach when we look at step 1 is we look at it from what do you need first. And then we build something that does exactly that. So a lot of times people are paying for risk, but they don't really know why. I say they pay it on hope. They say, well, I hope if this happens to me, I'll be sorted out. But they don't know. So when we sit with a client and we say, listen, Dave, you need 3 million life cover. You're going to know I need 3 million life cover because R1 million is going to go into my estate to pay my debts. 2 million is going to be invested, and it's going to give my wife 6,000 Rand a month over and above the income she earns until she gets to retirement. So now you know why you have the 3 million life cover. Because on step 1, you want to spend as little money as possible because it's what if money. You need more money in step 2, 3, and 4. Once we've done that, we go to step 2, and that is called invest in yourself. The first thing we invest in is education. We come from generations of people that come from an education system that teaches us how to be good employees and go earn a living. But it never teaches us what to do with the money once we've earned it. So we go through life, and they have this attitude of, don't worry, you'll pick it up as you go along. So we pick it up, we get to 40, we're battered, we're bruised, our expenses are higher than our incomes, we're in debt, and then people look at you and say, but geez, you've made some stupid decisions. Well, you didn't know any better. So the first thing we need to do is we need to increase people's financial intelligence through education. And that's why we do the forums to teach people the basics of financial management. The second thing we help people invest in is unsecured debt. So you first get rid of your unsecured debt. That is your credit card, your personal loans, all of the debt that's not underlined by assets.
That.
Yes.
Right there. And I speak about this as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Because I went
we all start our businesses on credit cards.
Initially, that's what I did. Okay?
All of us.
And it was on the credit card. It was on the personal loans. I had a good credit record because I'd been a good boy and done everything. But when that business, for whatever reason, suddenly, then you can't pay that. And I think, when I eventually decided that I couldn't do this anymore, and I'd gone the whole debt counseling way, I probably had 5 or 6
different loans and credit cards.
No, credit cards only, because at that stage they were giving them out like Smarties. Wherever you went, you could get one, and that was the brilliant thing. But when you end up sort of 750,000 Rand in debt with no income, big problem.
Yes,
big problem.
Yes. So that's why we see it so many times. I sit with a client, they are paying 1,000 Rand a month into a retirement annuity, but they're paying 6,000 Rand a month on credit cards and personal loans and unsecured debt. So your retirement annuity currently, if you're getting 9%, you're lucky. Your credit card, you're paying 18 to 22%. So what we teach people is we say, listen, first have a strategy, get rid of that unsecured debt. Once you've done that, then we start an investment strategy that is linked to what you want to achieve. So that is step 2. Step 3 is then become an entrepreneur. So step 1 and step 2 is all about optimizing what we call your lifestyle income. That is the income that pays for your lifestyle. It pays for the car, the house, the clothing, the school fees, those kind of things. We first have to optimize that. The problem is people start a business at exactly the wrong time. And for the wrong reason.
Absolutely.
They start a business because they need the money. You can't start a business because you need the money, because then you are going to go bankrupt.
Well, you start a business because, as in my case, because I've got that stubborn bent and I'm unemployable. So nobody wanted me. I didn't play well in the sandpit with other children.
Yes.
So that's why I had to start the business.
So what then happens is, because there's a reason why they're not getting out with their current income. They don't have proper financial management. You first have to understand that you can manage your current income to optimize it. And then only do you start generating extra income, because otherwise the extra income will just be added to your normal income, and then you'll just increase your expenses again, because you're not looking at the cause of the problem. You're just putting a plaster on the
But now you talk about starting your own business, and,
Yes.
and we'll get into that, because we're going to play some music now.
Yes.
But where I'm going with this is, when you say to somebody who is not an entrepreneur, not sort of got that kind of mindset. I know friends of mine that are corporate people. That's what they are.
Yeah.
If you say start your own business, they immediately throw their hands up in the air in
I'm not going
horror.
to quit my job.
And you can't expect me to quit my job. I don't know what to do. And you can just hear them. They panic.
Yes.
So when we get back, let's talk exactly what you mean about starting
a business.
your own business.
Yes.
My guest in studio with me on What's Involved tonight, Lourens Oberholzer, CEO of Retire Rich and Happy.
David Morris on Mix 93.8.
My guest in studio from Retire Rich and Happy, the CEO, Lourens Oberholzer. Fascinating discussion tonight. Lots and lots of info coming in, lots of questions coming in on the SMS line, 41348. Otherwise, you can WhatsApp us 0848220938. That's 0848220938. People asking for contact details. We'll give those to you towards the end of the show.
And the competition. We'll give people so they can win.
When do you want to do that? You want to do it now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
And people can start sending SMSs so that
All
they
right.
can get
I
in.
like this kind of competition, because Lourens's people get to deal with it. I don't have to worry about SMS numbers. So what are we giving away?
Okay, so there's going to be 2 sets of prizes. So firstly, we're going to give away 3 VIP tickets to our Financial Freedom Forum, which is going to be held on the 1st of December. And it is at 268 West Avenue, Centurion, at Momentum's head office. They are sponsoring the event for us. And what we're going to talk about there is we're going to talk about the 5 steps. We'll teach people about budgeting, about strategies to get rid of their unsecured debt. 4 strategies to pay off your bond in half the time. Imagine you can pay off your bond in 10 years instead of 20. We teach people 4 strategies.
Okay.
We do investment strategy. We teach people how to build an investment strategy that actually works, so that they can become active investors and not passive investors. Passive investors, we've been taught to become passive investors. We basically get taught by the system that you start working, you get some guy to tell you how much money you have to put away, you put a debit order, and then you hope that the money will grow. That doesn't work. You need to become an active investor. And then we have Introduction to Becoming an Entrepreneur, where we talk a little bit about how people become entrepreneurs.
We're going to talk about that, because as you say now, we're going to be given 3 VIP tickets. How do they get those?
Okay.
Let's start with that.
Yes. So they can SMS RRH for Retire Rich and Happy, and their name to 33903.
33903. So it's all you got to do. RRH, your name, 33903. If you're one of the 3 lucky people, obviously you do a random draw kind of thing like we do.
I always choose random numbers. So let's say we do number 9, number 11, and number 14.
Okay.
If they are 9, 11, or 14 that SMS is in, we'll give them the VIP tickets.
Okay, fantastic. You can also attend this without having free tickets.
Yes.
I mean,
so the actual ticket that you get there is free. You can go for free. The VIP tickets includes lunch with me. It includes all our tools: the budgeting tool, the unsecured debt tool, the bond settlement tool, and that's usually $4.99 a ticket.
Yeah.
But there is free tickets available for people to attend, and they can go on to quicket.co.za and they can just search Financial Freedom Forum. They'll get the tickets there.
Okay, fantastic. Faye just says, I went to the last one. It was amazing. People,
thanks.
You will learn so much. This is what I hear. And I have a feeling that my girlfriend's listening. Well, I know she's listening tonight, but I've got a feeling that she's going to go, David, my
come.
buddy, we need to go and see this. So you might see us there
Yes,
as well.
that would be awesome.
It'll be great to be there as well. Okay, so that's that, and then you're also going to give away some consultations.
Yes, I'll do 3 45-minute consultations with me. It's for you to ask me any questions. I'll come to you, I'll sit with you for 45 minutes, and you can ask me anything. It's not about something specific. You tell me what you're concerned about. If you have a few questions, I can help you from there.
Okay, same principle?
Same SMS, RRH, and your name to 33903, and then we will choose, let's say, what did we say, 9, 11, and 14. Let's say 3, 8, and 15.
Okay, done deal. Send those off. Let's have a look. Just remember that number is not our SMS number, okay? It's 33903. That is Lourens's own SMS number. They will organize those prizes. 33903. So just before the break, we were talking about the steps, and one of the steps is entrepreneurship. And I said to you, I know so many people that when you speak about entrepreneurship, they will throw their hands up in horror. So explain that a little more, because immediately people are thinking, oh yeah, now he's going to tell me I have to sell everything and become a business owner, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah. So here's the thing. In the forum, we also say, don't quit your day job yet. So when we talk about becoming an entrepreneur, people need to create what we call freedom income, multiple sources of income. So becoming an entrepreneur is not necessarily becoming a business owner. An entrepreneur is somebody that creates business assets that create income from leverage. So what we want to help people do is create alternative income streams through business assets. So it's not quitting your day job, it's starting something part-time initially and maybe building it up to a full-time business. But it's about generating multiple sources of income, or MSI.
So the thing there is not to make massive money, but to make enough money. And then, if I understand you correctly, the trick is the money you make from that sort of side, we were joking about it.
Hustle.
I called it your side hustle. From the side business, you then take that money and you invest it wisely.
That's it. So here's what happens. People start a part-time business for the wrong reason. They start it when they need the money. You can't start a business when you need the money, because then all that's going to happen is you've not solved the problem why you need the money. So you first have to solve that problem. Once you don't need the money, you start a business to create multiple sources of income. But then you need to define that income. If you get an extra source of income, you need to decide, is this lifestyle income or is it freedom income? If it's lifestyle income, fine, you put it in your check account and you pay your bills. But you want to make it freedom income. If it's freedom income, you have to split it at the source. It shouldn't even hit your account. The thing is, if you get a tax refund and it comes into your account.
Oh, tax refunds, yeah.
How difficult is it for you to suddenly move that money somewhere else to invest it?
Oh, come on. The government's just paid you back. So, you're going to go out and celebrate.
So the moment that money hits your account, it becomes an expense to move the money somewhere else, or pay an investment or pay something. So what we want to do is we don't want that effect. We just want that money to go directly into someplace else. And we call that your free bucks account. It's a flexible investment account that we open, and the money moves in there so it doesn't hit your account. That money then builds a capital asset, and that moves you to step 4, which is invest in income generating assets.
Because that's one of the things that a lot of people also are quite afraid of, is once you've gotten that money, that extra money, you put it into an investment and it's tied up. You can't access it. You don't have the security of knowing that you've got some money there that if the pawpaw hits the fan, you can bail yourself out.
So what we do is we've got a process that we go through. The first thing we do is we make sure that we move people zero back to zero. So we get rid of unsecured debt.
Let's talk about the zero back to
like
zero.
The zero thing?
Well, you know what? It's because I've become a victim. I was a victim of that. And due to circumstance, I've moved now back to the zero, the real zero. But my zero got moved so far back, it was scary.
Yes. So here's what happens. We come out of school, we start working, and our zero is zero. If we have zero in the bank, we have zero money.
Then you are stuffed. You can't go out. You can't go
zero
joining.
is your zero.
Nothing.
Yeah. So what then happens is you earn some money and then you spend some money. You go back to zero. You earn, you spend, you go back to zero. Then the bank comes and says, but listen, you're a good client. We're going to give you a credit card for 5,000. So very quickly, your zero is now not zero anymore. It's now minus 5,000.
And it's such an easy thing to get into. And it happens so quickly. and then they still make you feel good by giving you pretty colored cards, and then you feel very important with them. And then they say, because you have been so good at this, we're going to give you more.
Yes. So what then happens is you're still in exactly the same situation. You still earn and you spend and you earn and you spend. Your zero has just now moved to minus 5,000 instead of zero. And so it goes to 10, 20, 30, and before people know it, they're 100,000 in debt. So one of the steps we want to go through is we want to move people zero back to zero so that the money you have is your money. So you earn money, you spend money. And we do that through two things. It's called variable cost segregation that we've developed to help people manage their finances. And then we help people set up what we call their reserve account. That is your emergency fund and money that you have available for any capital expenditure you have planned for the next 12 months. So that is that emergency. Oh, if something happens, I've got money available.
I'm smiling now because I was once told by somebody, and it stood me in good stead in the past, particularly with my entrepreneurial side and not wanting to work for a boss, but they called it something else. They called it an FU fund.
Yes.
When you get totally the hell in, you can take your... But it works. I mean, it's something that you need to do.
So before you start this whole investment plan, you first create your reserve account to make sure that if something goes wrong, you can still maintain your standard of living. Then the money that flows out of your reserve account, that goes into your free bucks account. And from there, we start distributing money to different investments, whether it's fixed investments like a retirement annuity, endowment or whatever, or it is income generating assets like a property or trailers or whatever you want to invest in. We move it out of your free bucks account. So it first goes through your reserve account into that account before you start investing.
Now, I'm going to ask you, I mean, obviously you're not doing this just because you're a nice guy.
Yes.
I mean,
I do it because I'm a nice guy as well.
Well, you're a nice guy, but I mean, this is a business for you as well.
Yes.
And people need to understand that it is a business for you.
Yes.
But part of your business is giving the best advice you possibly can.
More focused on education. I always tell people we're an education company first, an implementation company second. So the first thing is people need to understand, and then we'll help them to implement.
Okay, so and this is what I think I'm getting at, because very often people beat around the bush and they won't ask the direct questions. But if somebody comes, they attend one of your seminars and they go, you know what, Lourens, I like what you guys are doing. Do I then sign up with you? Will you then do? This is not a one shot and you're gone.
No. Okay, so there's a couple of things. Every one of the steps has certain things that's built in. So step one, we sit with you, we do an analysis of your whole situation, we look at what your risk management plan needs to look at, and we implement that risk management plan. For that, there's one of two costs. You can either do the traditional option, where we use financial services products and we get paid the way that anybody else in the industry gets paid. Or you can do the fixed fee option, where you pay us a fixed fee. We don't have the fees built into your product. You pay us and we service that plan for you on a 2-year period, and we implement the plan. After 2 years, you can decide to go on to a retainer model where you pay us a monthly fee and we keep servicing that for you. From step two, you go, the forum is for free. We then have a coaching system where you can decide to become one of our personal financial coaching students, and we take you through the different levels. We've got different levels of those coaching students, which starts from student up to undergraduate up to graduate. So as you go through the system, once we've moved your 0 to 0, you become a graduate, undergraduate, and once you've created your free bucks account, you become a postgraduate.
Okay. All right. So
there's fees involved in that.
Okay, but at any stage as well, I can go, no, hang on, this is not for me.
Yeah, we don't sign long-term contracts. I always tell people I'm not a gym, so I'm not going to force you, because I can't make you want to do this. I can help you as far as you want to help yourself. Our mission statement also says we empower those who want to help themselves to achieve the extraordinary. And that's what we want to do. We want to help people that want to empower themselves, because it takes work. It takes commitment. We can't make you follow the strategy to get rid of your unsecured debt, but I can help you to do it.
Lourens, we're about out of time again.
Yes, I can't believe it.
You know, you used to 10 minutes. Tonight we're just on an hour and we still haven't finished everything. Success stories, do you have?
I'll give you a couple of success stories. The one is one of our students. He's been with us for about 18 months now. He did a lot of the things right. He had properties, he had a side hustle, but he wasn't doing the whole financial management right. So he was 3,000 Rand a month short every month. He had 120,000 Rands worth of credit card debt. He owed 200,000 Rand to his dad for a car he bought. And within 18 months, we've now taken him, he's moved his 0 to 0. He's paid off all his debt. We've taken him from a 3,000 Rand negative to about a 4,000 Rand positive. He's now paid off his dad. And he just let me know a week ago that December he will hit 200,000 Rand in his reserve account. So that's all happened in 18 months.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, so you can change your whole approach to your money. And that's, I think, one thing that happens at the forum. People's relationship with their money changes because they've got things that they can actually do to improve it.
I think that's absolutely brilliant. We must definitely make a plan. I know I've said it before. Us radio people are horrible, though, because we go, yes, we're going to go. Yes, we're going to go. We know we need to. Yes, we're going to go. And then like shiny stuff happens.
Yes,
and off we go and we do something
all the
else.
creative people,
Yeah, no, we're horrible like that.
I call them costly curves.
Yeah.
The moment you say you're going to do one thing, something else comes up and you go, woo, and then you go on your own route.
Yeah, absolutely. Lourens Oberholzer, CEO, Retire Rich and Happy. Once again, if you want those VIP tickets, or you want the 45-minute consultation, all you got to do is SMS RRH.
Yes.
And your name. So it's RRH and your name to 33903. Lourens and them will then check out who those winners are, and they will be in touch.
Yes.
Lourens, it's been absolutely awesome. Thank you so much. I think, and just judging from the sort of feedback and stuff we've had, I think we must do it again, because I think a lot of people miss when you're with Saskia. They probably, because they're working, traveling, doing whatever. This might be a better time. So let's look at something maybe early in the new year.
Yes, definitely.
Then we can start off the new year with the right frame of mind.
Good.
Maybe by that stage I will have come to one of the presentations.
Yes.
Lourens, thank you so much. We wish you all the best. It's Lourens Oberholzer, CEO of Retire Rich and Happy.
David Watts on Mix 93.8.